Hey guys, we're back to another video. Today, I want to let you guys know why I didn't upload last week. I was not feeling well really at all last week. I probably could have uploaded one times last week, but every other time I was pretty busy. I was sick. I could have probably uploaded Wednesday last week, but I still wasn't feeling the best on Wednesday last week. And Thursday I had something going on, so I wasn't able to upload. So that's why I really wasn't able to upload last week. So that's why I wanted to let you guys know in today's video. Today we're going to talk about the tropics in today's video. So let's get into today's video. Okay, we are looking at the 2-day graphical weather outlook here, and we see there is a 10% chance of development here in the Atlantic for the next 2 days. So we're going to have to watch the storm. It's not expected to go too really much anywhere the next few days, and there's not a big percentage of this one developing, but it could develop. This was from the latest update. This just actually came out, and luckily I got to show you guys this when it came out at the 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time update. A real quick one look at the eastern part of the Atlantic, and we see there's Hurricane Hilda and Tropical Storm Inagio, I'm pretty sure, and then another disturbance here. The disturbance has a 60% chance of development. Here, let's just real quick check out the hurricane here. I see it's expected to stay a hurricane, then a tropical storm, and then tropical depression by Thursday 5 a.m. So that's what's supposed to happen with that storm. Here's the wind history so far. Tropical storm may become a hurricane briefly, so yeah. Arrival time, really no one in the path of this, so I really don't need to check this out, but still, we'll check it out real quick. And then the wind probabilities, 90% chance of in tropical storm force winds, 50 knots winds is 90%, and then hurricane wind speed probabilities is a 70% chance here, according to this. So, just briefly want to talk about the two storms here. Let's real quick talk about the other storm here, Tropical Storm Inakio, I think it's called. Expected to become a tropical storm, or it's already a tropical storm, and then become tropical depression by 6 a.m. Tuesday. So, as expected with it, and tropical storm wind gusts possible with this storm, so, but not 50 knots winds. Okay, let's look at the 5-day graphical weather outlook, and we're checking out the one in the Atlantic. Has a 20% chance of development, but the good news is it's not heading toward that way. It's really heading more north. So unless this curves around and goes this way, I'm not too concerned about this right now. But we're gonna have to watch that very closely here. If it does curve around like that into the Atlantic and goes near the United States, like goes on this kind of path to the United States, we're going to have to watch that very closely. Let's also check out the one in the Eastern Pacific. We actually have two. One here that has a 60% chance of development. That's right in this region. Then we have another one here, another disturbance of a 20% chance in the next 5 days to develop. I think this one will develop. According to the models, it shows that there will be a strong storm that will develop around this time or soon in this area. So we're going to have to watch that closely here. So, but it doesn't look like it'll impact really land that much. So let's just check out what will happen to these storms here in the Eastern Pacific. Here on the GFS, see there's that one storm here, that hurricane there, and then that tropical storm here you can see right in these areas here. But we're gonna start watching over here, where we have that tropical system that could come through. Let's just go a little bit farther on. You'll watch as the storm will develop here, and as you can see, there's the storm. Looks like it'll strengthen into a strong. tropical storm or even a hurricane potentially. Doesn't look like it'll really. The only thing it really I think it will impact maybe parts of Mexico off the coast, and but really I don't think it's going to impact much. Let's just check out the significant wave height here with that here, and we see there is some significant wind or wave height near Mexico. So Mexico, you're gonna have to watch this very closely if you're in these areas. You might have some significant wave heights near you if the storm does develop if it does develop like the GFS is showing. Then you're gonna have to watch if you're in this area too for some significant waves here. But it shows near like uh, 27 on here. So yeah. Okay, so here is the wind and knots, and we're gonna see potentially near 80 mile or winds and knots here near Mexico. Possibly Mexico getting about 52 knots winds here with that storm, and then moving into this area about 34 knots around parts of these regions here. Could get impacted by this potential hurricane if it does become a hurricane. So we're going to have to watch this. This could be a significant storm here that develops, but it really doesn't look like it'll do much threat to land if just off the coast, if anything, of Mexico here. So, but really not much going on here. Doesn't look like. Let's look at the North Atlantic now, temperature anomalies. And we see most of the Atlantic is in warm temperature anomalies. You want the more brighter, you want the oranges and reds for tropical development. Then that means it's more warm, the waters are more warm. And then the blues mean it's more cold, and usually when you see cold, you don't see much tropical activity going on there. And we see most of North America, the Atlantic, it looks like most of it has been actually heating up a little more. I think last time I looked at this, it was pretty cold around this area. It looks a little bit warmer now in the main development region. Um, I don't think it's quite warm enough, doesn't look like, but if it gets warmer, we're going to have to watch for any systems that develop off Africa and move into this area, because soon the main development region will probably start seeing storms. So, but if we see cooler temperatures, we probably won't see as many storms, because tropical storms and hurricanes like warm waters. And we have a lot of warm waters near here, the United States near. There's quite a few warm waters, so if any storms did develop near us, we probably would have to watch it very carefully here, because we're in quite a bit of warm waters, tiny bit of cooler waters here at some spots, but mostly warm, it looks like, here in the Gulf. Let's look at the CETUS Nino 3.4 index. And this is where you figure out if it's going to be a La Nina or El Nino. For a La Nina, you need plus 0.5. It shows plus, only up to plus 0.4 on here. But this would be close enough to a El Nino up here. So this is the El Nino up here, and then La Nina is negative 0.5, but it doesn't go up to there on here, so we're just gonna have to say up to negative 0.4. So yeah, so El Nino up here, La Nina down here. So just remember that. It'll always be that way here. So we see it was getting close to El Nino at a time, but we see lately it's been going down near La Nina, and they do still have that La Nina watch in effect, because they expect it to become a La Nina, 66% chance. And if we see a La Nina for September and or uh, September and October, could see because that's the most active time for tropical storms and hurricanes. We could see a pretty active peak of hurricane season if we see that happen here. Right now we're in the negatives, so we're getting close to the La Nina, because you need to be down here for a La Nina. So, and we're not really that close to El Nino at all, really. Um, so yeah, let's look at the tropical intensity index here, and we see most of the Gulf highly favorable for any sort of tropical storm or hurricane to move in and strengthen. And so, if we like saw some develop here, move into this area, it would probably strengthen because we have quite a bit of tropical intensity index right in there. I just saw that one storm weekend because this area had really not much tropical intensity index. There was a storm that did develop up in up there a few days ago, and they said there was a possibility it could develop. There was like I think a 60% chance, and it kept going down just because there wasn't really much tropical intensity index. It was really highly unfavorable, most of this area. Some area is a little more favorable, and I thought if the storm did move into this area, then we would be having to watch it very closely, but luckily it didn't, and the weekend, so yeah, we didn't really see much going on. Um, and then the main development region right now, most of the area looks mainly highly unfavorable, but there is a little area here where it's favorable. So, but if any storms did move into this region here, it'd be highly unfavorable though, as you can see. So they wouldn't really be able to strengthen, they'll probably weaken more than strengthens, according to what this says. Uh, but we are seeing a little bit unfavorable right here, not highly unfavorable. So, but we want some of those greens in most of these areas because that shows highly unfavorable for any sort of tropical storms or anything like that here. Here's the peak of hurricane season. I wanted to show you guys this here. I'm gonna use the yellow here. So we're here in August now, and we're gonna go all the way to September 10th, and we see that's when we have some high hurricanes and tropical storms. Wonder what this says. So yeah, this is what this says. Usually we see start seeing a peak during the middle, and then by the end of the month, start seeing some quite a few tropical storms and hurricanes during that time, according to what this says. Um, let's just check out August, how it usually plays out. Um, and it's usually likely, the blue area is likely to see any sort of tropical storm or hurricane. Um, the green region means more likely for any tropical storms or hurricanes. And then the yellow region means most likely here. And that's near these areas. So I think storms could develop in the main development region, or and then move up this area or this area over here, or move up near the northeast, according to what this says. So yeah, this is for usually what happens in August. Doesn't mean that will happen, but that's what usually happens in August. So let's look at the GFS here. We are looking at GFS. This means if you're in the greens, it means you're favorable more for uh, tropical storms and hurricanes. We looked at this last year. If you don't remember this, if you're in the greens, you're more favorable. The more darker greens you are, the more favorable you are for tropical storms and hurricanes to possibly develop. And then if you're in the reds, oranges to darker oranges and reds, um, it means you're more unfavorable for tropical development to happen. So, and we see here into the Atlantic here, we see near the Gulf and everything, we are a little bit on the above average tropical development here, according to what this says. Most of it's actually in the Eastern Pacific. That's why we've been seeing quite a bit of tropical development because it shows most of that's in that area. Most of that above average or above average tropical development here is around that area, the more darker greens. But the main development region right now isn't really in the reds, isn't really in the greens, so they're kind of in 0.0 here, according to what this says. So, so we're not really in the greens or reds. But if we see greens moving to this region, that'd be bad because we'd start seeing some more storms develop. Even with, you could still have no green and still get a tropical storm, um, but if you have more of those oranges and reds, you're less likely to see tropical development in those areas. So let's fast forward a little more to around August 3rd here. That's tomorrow, and we're seeing there's still quite a bit of tropical development here in the Gulf and everything. It's still some in the eastern Pacific. We'll probably still continue to see tropical development happen over there. Um, Here in the overall Atlantic, we're not seeing much tropical storm the greens here. So yeah, let's fast forward a little more to around August 5th, and this is when it gets a little bit interesting. We're starting to see some greens off of Africa. If we start seeing that, we may see some storms develop, move into this area, and we would have to watch this area because this area has some greens. Just the area in the middle doesn't, but doesn't have any reds in there. So we have to watch that very closely near August 5th to 6th for maybe some tropical development here. So yeah, let's move on to August 7th. And this is the good news here. We start seeing these reds come in uh, parts of the Atlantic. Still the Eastern Pacific seeing those greens. We could still continue to see tropical development over there. We start seeing these reds come in, making it a little less likely for tropical development here for parts of the Atlantic. Isn't too dark in red, so that doesn't mean it'll be uh, no tropical development at all, but there's going to be less tropical development if we see that happen. Let's fast forward again near August 10th. And we still see some of those reds here in the Atlantic. We do see some greens, but most of them are still in the Eastern Pacific. So as you continue to see, the more far out we go, the more or less likely it is to happen. More likely it'll change. And we see this is around August 12th. We see a little bit of greens here for the Atlantic, and then some reds near off of Africa here. So yeah, Eastern Pacific is kind of not really in the greens and not really in the reds. So let's fast forward to August 14th, and we start seeing these greens start to move into the Atlantic near the Gulf. That's the time when we're going to have to watch if this does happen. We're going to have to watch for possibly some tropical development to happen right in that region. So we're going to have to watch that if this does appear to happen. We're going to have to watch for tropical development to happen near these areas, and then maybe some parts of the Eastern Pacific, but most of the Eastern Pacific now is in the reds by August 15th. So we might see a little bit less of storms in the Eastern Pacific by this time and see more the Atlantic seeing these tropical storms and hurricanes maybe. Let's keep going. By August 17th, it says those reds will take over most of the areas here, the Atlantic. If we see that happen, that'll be good news because that'll be about the end of the month here of August where we see our most active time happen. We start seeing these reds take over the eastern and Atlantic here, meaning it'll be very unfavorable for tropical development, but doesn't mean we won't see any at all, but usually it's less likely if you see these reds. Still, this could change, but we're going to have to watch this very closely. Pacific still shows reds too, so we might not see much development around August 17th if this does happen, though. And then by the end of the small run, around August 18th, 7 a.m., still says those reds for most of the Atlantic and Eastern Pacific, so hopefully that is the case, so we don't see many tropical storms or hurricanes, but this could change. So, but I want to show you guys this because it shows that we may see some tropical storm activity and all that start to happen around uh, possibly near August 15th, 16th, somewhere near there, and then it might calm down after that time. So we're gonna have to watch that very closely. I'll continue to keep you guys updated. There isn't much going on in the weather this week, so that's why I was just having this video today. Don't know if I'll be tomorrow. Kind of depend on how the weather does the next few days. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I think I will try to have a fall forecast by Wednesday this week. Hopefully I'm gonna try to. So yeah, and then next winter forecast won't be for another 2 weeks from now. So just letting you guys know that. Thank you guys for watching though, and see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.